Nothing else. Like you, I have at times been yelling at my telly, throwing things in the direction of the telly because it has been the summer of the sook. It didn't matter what the subject was, how serious or unserious it was. Anyone with any complaint whatsoever was given the loudest megaphone possible. They were screaming away on social media. They were screaming over Christmas lunch. They were rolling their eyes and carrying on, suggesting that every little thing somehow was to blame when it came to the federal government, or somehow magically there was a different path for us when it comes to COVID in particular. But it has been just the summer of the sook, and not just on COVID. So I thought at the start of tonight's show, before we get into anything else, these are some of my sooks of the summer. Now get ready to turn off if you're somebody who thinks that Novak Djokovic is the second coming. If we are on right now in the Serbian president's home, I'm sorry to disappoint, but Novak Djokovic, sook. Not only was he unvaccinated and knew he couldn't get into the country, he BS'd plenty of times, but that's not really what I want to point out. Because also a sook of the summer has been somebody who, remember, if Albo becomes Prime Minister, would become in charge of our national borders. Our old mate KK. Continuing to fail her way up, a reminder she would be in charge of our borders should there be a change of government a little later this year. Now, Christina Keneally, of course, is beloved by the media because she is a good performer, whatever that means. But in terms of her actual judgment, while she's trying to run for the lower house as part of her fail-up strategy to eventually become Labor leader, Prime Minister, Governor-General, first elected president, then Pope, and then her true calling of being a weather girl in Las Vegas. She, of course, has met with Chinese propagandists in southwestern Sydney. She met with the United Front. These are people who believe that Taiwan is part of China and it should go back. And she wants to be in charge of your borders. Interesting, of course, they never said whether Novak Djokovic should have come or gone from the country, just that it was a mess over and over and over again all summer. KK, who would be in charge of our borders, remember, she too says we have, and I quote, a moral need, a moral duty to bring back the families of ISIS fighters. She turns up when the Twitter mob turns her into a real mob. And you know how people get criticised for the signs that they stand in front of? No problems with her dressed as the Hamburglar here, standing in front of the ScoMo equals fake Christian. She would end up as the person in charge of our borders should the government change a little later this year.